Welcome to the Inner Solutions live stream. It is Tuesday, June 8th, 2021. My name is Jim Cipollini, your good friend, your resident mental health coach for Inner Solutions, and we are here to talk all things mental health, all things anxiety, all things panic, all things coming to give you the support that you need to get through your days and feel good. I got a bunch of birds in the background. Let's just leave it on. That's nice. Listen to the birds chirping. So, look, it is such a privilege and a pleasure to be here and to be joined by wonderful people and to answer questions. And we're going to open up this Q&A by just encouraging you to post your questions in the comments below. Beyond just questions, feel free to give feedback on how these live streams are for you. Is there more you wished we'd talk about? Is there stuff you'd wish we'd expand upon? Is there any questions you have for us? Anything like that is absolutely fantastic. So don't be shy in asking any personal stories, anything about, related to mental health, obviously. Anything related to panic, anxiety, mental health, totally. So just feel free to put that stuff in the comments below. Yeah. Absolutely. So let me just update this. Live anxiety. Mental 6/21. Nope, 6/8/21. Perfect. Okay. And as always, if you're wanting more support or interested in more information about like our class or any of the services we provide or ways that we can support you, pop it in the chat down below. I'm going to be sharing some links to some free resources that we have for all you guys in just a second once I get perfectly set up here. All right, we should be good. Awesome. And more than ever, just want to know, how's your heart? How are you guys doing? What's going on with you anxiety-wise? What's going on with you mental health-wise? What level anxiety out of 10 are you today? Is it better than yesterday? Feel free to just share whatever's going on and on your mind. Let me think. What's been the theme of this week? What's been the theme of this week? With the people we've talked to on the phone, I'm trying to think. Some of the themes that have been recurring this week are like overachieving, pushing too hard. Yeah, that's been kind of the theme this week. Dealing with like really, really intense and wild mood swings, stuff like that. That's kind of been what's going on with clients this week. Also making big decisions, feeling overwhelmed, how to regroup when feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, that's some of the stuff I really want to talk about. How do you deal with overwhelm? How do you deal with a part of you that, particularly when you're struggling with anxiety or panic attacks, starts to just shut you down and feel like you're hopeless, you can't function, you're not going to be able to get through it. Stuff. A lot of the bigger stuff like that. So, of course, first and foremost, give me a check-in. How are you guys doing? I'm going to get to your questions in just a second. I am just trying to figure this stuff out. We get a lot of questions, too, about certain social anxieties, whether it's struggling with, like, social anxiety, feeling like you have to act a certain way in front of people, feeling like, all that kind of stuff. All right, let's get to some of these questions on Facebook. If you're on YouTube as well, we'll be reading those comments as well. And guys, if you're not subscribed or haven't been to our YouTube page, tons and tons of free videos, resources, and information. We're simulcasting always on Tuesdays on Facebook and YouTube as well. So if there's ever a live stream you want to check out, you can go to either one of those pages that you missed from a Tuesday. You can go to either one of those pages. I know some people like to, when they're feeling a little off or a little over anxious, they'll like to watch the live stream too, just to remind them, give them that little jolt of energy of like, you're not stuck. You're definitely not stuck. What's up, Kat? Hey, Nicole, how are you? Tara, nice to see you. Love the shirt. Thank you very much. Actually, I tend to not be a sleeves guy, but I threw this on before the stream. Bonnie, what's up? How are you? Tina Joe, awesome. Like your emote. Doing better today, Nicole. So glad to hear that. That's awesome. You've been working hard, I know. I know you're working hard. Dawn, what's up? Tina Joe, my mama is dying of cancer. I'm having a very hard time with anxiety. Yeah. So Tina, when that's what we'd call congruent anxiety. And what you're going to really want to focus on is a concept called radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is kind of basically on par with something like the Serenity Prayer, and really making sure you're allowing for things to happen, making sure you're allowing as much as possible for yourself to grieve. And when you're going through a big storm, like the grieving of a really close relationship and just something that's so out of your control and so heavy, comfort is your friend. And comfort lies in everything from sensory comforts, being around great people, nurturing clothes, nurturing blankets, great smells, which reminds me I should light some incense, really good tasting food, things that you really find comforting, with allowing yourself to emote at times and just knowing the foundational things as well. That there is no easy way through something like this. There is no painless way through something like this. But what you can try to do is curb the emotion that comes with it and make sure, as far as anxiety goes, that you know, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be safe. Life is going to go on. And so part of what can help with a really painful loss or really scary grieving is addressing all the things you're worried about that may happen when mom leaves. And so thinking about, what was mom for me? I mean, obviously she's my mother. What is that? Was she a source of comfort? Was she a source of some kind of other support, financial support, emotional support, spiritual mentor, stuff like that? And starting to come up with some kind of a plan. Where am I going to bridge the gap there? And writing it out on paper. And then while you're doing that, just taking a second to acknowledge how great and how lucky you were to have somebody so amazing. But mitigating and allowing yourself to ease off on the, I don't know how I'm going to go on, helping those parts of you, because you are going to be able to go on, and trusting your future self. I'm so sorry for that. I did lose my father to kind of the nightmarish cancer, the like kind of worst case scenario you think of. And there was many times that I grieved. And when he actually passed away, it was not the biggest grieving point at all for me. It was the moment I realized, wow, what I kind of knew of him will never be the same again. And got through it with joining with my other family members, but really just on my own emotional journey. And that is what it is. And allowing myself to cry and not feeling shame or embarrassment, but just allowing myself to emote in the moment and just to hold his hand. And what it really was for me was a much deeper, I think part of it was kind of untapped potential in the relationship I was hoping to have with him, even though we had a good relationship. Part of it was the kind of the inner child, or one of my inner children, that was scared to lose his dad and lose that level of kind of security, safety net. And then it was also a cry of joy of like, I'm so lucky to have this guy. I'm so lucky that we evolved as we did in our relationship and stuff. Yeah. So my heart goes out to you, Tina. Melina says, hi, I was like 10 minutes ago with anxiety. Yeah, but tell me more, Melina. What kind of symptoms were you struggling with? What kind of anxiety was it? Joe says it's worse than yesterday. I'm so sorry, Joe. What's going on? Tell me, give me the details so we can get you. What are the thoughts you're having? What are the physical symptoms you're having? How long has it been going on? Give us a bit of a backstory. Everybody saying they're sorry for Tina, of course. Joe says, getting hot flashes in my upper back. Very common symptom, Joe. These either feelings of heat or these feelings of like rolling tension. Very, very heavy. Very, very heavy. Amber says, hello, just found this page a few days ago and have learned so much. My anxiety started about 3 months ago from a choking scare. I now have health anxiety. Amber, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I had a really, really intense choking scare where I was home alone, eating a ham sandwich, Mama Cass style, and just got it lodged in my throat, couldn't breathe, and eked out of there by kind of, I don't want to sound too gross, but just kind of shoving my arm down my throat and pushing it down. So I get it. That's what it sounds like you're having, Amber, is that health anxiety is more of a trauma response. It's very similar ways of dealing with anxiety, though. You know, there's going to be that duality where a part of you that's rational knows that the thoughts you're having, the extreme, intrusive, obsessive thoughts, that you may have this multi-part dynamic going on inside of you where there's a part of you that's like monitoring every sensation in your system. And then there's a part of you that feels like it wants to call the ambulance. So stay tuned, because we're going to talk all things anxiety and just be talking about how to deal with all this stuff. And also, Amber, I would encourage you to kind of go to the description of the video. I think it's in the title or the description. And if it's in your means, join our class, man. We've got scholarships available, partial scholarships available to join our class, because this is the stuff we really, really reinforce over and over again, is how to deal with the whole spectrum of it. The whole spectrum of anxiety, from feeling like you're having panic attacks to dealing with the intrusive thoughts, how to soothe yourself, how to ground yourself, and then ultimately how to not be reactive to the urges and the sensations that come with anxiety. And as you can see, Amber, you're definitely not alone. Okay, I'm listening to you. Great advice. Yeah, Tina, it's just congruent anxiety. It's get really intentional about what's clear about, what did mom mean to you? If you can more specifically identify, like it sounds like duh, like you're losing your mother. So it's like, duh, I'm losing my mother. Of course I'm anxious or depressed. Well, if you can actually really start to break that down and unpack it quite a bit and be like, well, what am I really anxious about? Am I anxious because I feel more lonely? There's a level of security. For me, it was like my father was a little bit of a safety net. I just felt like a little bit more secure, whether if I need, this is in my 20s, if I needed financial support, if I needed a place to go, that it was like a safe place to escape, because I'd be overwhelmed. And so losing him was actually an opportunity for me to gain those muscles and gain independence and feel a little bit stronger without that safety net. It was anxiety inducing in the beginning, because I was like, man, I really got to step up to the plate and the stakes are higher, but it actually helped me become stronger. And to be honest, he's been gone 6.5 years now. And I still feel just as connected as I did before, if not more. I can hear him cracking jokes. I have I have his guitar here. I have his motorcycle, and I think about him. I probably think about him more now than I did when he was alive. Tina says, I lost my mom in July. Will be 4 years to cancer. Sorry to hear that. Lots of love to you, Tara. Excuse me. Tara said that. Amanda says, my heart hurts for you, Tina. I'm very sorry. Yeah. Melina says, I lost my mom last year and still so difficult for me, and where I was working last year at the doctor's office, the doctor passed away starting last year. Tell me more. I mean, how is it manifesting for Melina? What kind of symptoms are you having? What kind of thoughts? How does it manifest? Dawn says, with me, the heat makes anxiety worse. Yeah, that's actually a common thing. A lot of people, actually myself included, when I get hot, I tend to get more anxious. So when I'm like working out in a hot setting, and typically it's like a fear of passing out, a fear of hypothermia, a fear of the body shutting down, and just that discomfort. And a lot of people, because, the heart starts beating, your body starts to raise its kind of thermocenter when you get anxious, because physically you're getting kind of more jacked up. But now, Melina says, now almost every day, my anxiety. You have anxiety every day. I suffer with syncope. What's syncope? Let me look it up. Syncope? Is that a thing? Temporary loss of consciousness caused by a fall in blood pressure. Syncope? 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 Never heard of it. You have, so you pass out, or you lose the, like you lose letters and sounds in a yeah. You lose, like it says particularly with, you lose letters and sounds in a word, which I feel like I'm doing right now. Okay. Like in library, you'll say library. Is that what you're talking about? Hi, Jim. Very touched about the beautiful things you said about Dad. Hey, what's up, Mom? How are you? Good to see you. Shout out to the woman who gave me life. Amber says, exactly how I feel. I will be joining. Perfect, Amber. So the next step you take is to click that link and set up a free call. And we'll talk to you about, the details and everything. But I think you'd be a perfect candidate for it. I think it'll pay off for you big time. Tina says, birds. Hi, Jim. As you know, in a storm on and off this week, really working on surrendering to these waves, coming to the Inner Solutions stream to help give myself support tonight. Sending love to everyone here tonight, especially Tina. Tina to Tina. Tina with a Y to Tina with an I. Awesome. Tina with a Y, thank you so much. And lots of love and good mental health to you, too. Ramona, what's up? Hey, I have floating feelings, head and body. Not out of body, just feel like jello. I went through the withdrawal from nefazodone that Teva stopped producing. Teva, the drug company. So I went through a nightmare, and it has affected me so badly. I'm new here. Nice to see this. Teva needs to be held accountable for many of us suffering with no warning. Right. So, Ramona, I'm so sorry about the withdrawal. It's one of the really, really brutal parts of being and using pharmaceuticals for medium and long-term stuff. No judgment. But what I do also promise you, Ramona, is that pharmaceuticals aren't always the end-all, be-all, and there's a hell of a lot more strategies and tools that you can acquire and develop to start to feel better. And I'm not saying it's a substitute at all, but what I found in my experience for myself personally is that, kind of wavering through a few different drugs and being thrown off by dosage changes, and then they might stop working after they got, kind of assimilated into my system. I would really encourage you to focus on learning the tools and techniques that we, teach here and teach in our classes and have on our YouTube page and all that stuff. Because, when we went through it, and Ennis and I had very separate experiences with panic and anxiety. But when we went through it, we found the universal stuff and through our classes and through our client work, that's been kind of tried, tested, and been universally useful to people. So you're not stuck, Ramona, I promise. I'm so sorry for the withdrawals. That's so heavy. I actually have a client who's in a residential facility right now with who just went through really heavy withdrawals, but she's out of it and she's doing great. So I promise it's not forever. Melina says, Tina Joe wins the award so far for coolest emojis. So far. Melina says, last Saturday, my friend had to take me to the urgent care because my heart rate was too high and I couldn't breathe good, shaking in a little bit of cold, but they checked me and it was again my anxiety. Sure. So Melina, I think you're kind of new to the channel, to the channel. I think you're kind of new. So what I'm going to tell you is that the physical symptom, without the thoughts, without the story that's being told to you, is just a physical symptom. A high heart rate, feeling short of breath, muscle shakes, muscle tremors, and feeling like a cold, like a temperature. a temperature change is all really, really common symptoms of anxiety. And so what I'm going to encourage you to work towards is allowing yourself just to feel the physical sensations and just notice the stories. You don't have to absorb them and believe that they're true, because the thoughts you're going to have are also a symptom of anxiety. The catastrophization, the feeling like you're dying, going crazy, losing control, feeling like you're going to have a heart attack when you've been checked out. And we always recommend people get checked out, but there has to be a point where you say, okay, this is actually just anxiety, and the stories are also a symptom of anxiety. Those catastrophizing, worst case scenario thoughts are a symptom of anxiety. And so I need to be here and just feel these physical sensations and just feel them and stop resisting the experience. Stop trying to get rid of it. I know that it's kind of like just really difficult to think that. It can seem like crazy. Like how can I not resist this? I want it to stop. But you actually have to muster up the emotional capacity and energy to just say, okay. Part of me is accepting this. Part of me is surrendering a little bit to it. And then part of me is going to do what I can do. I'm going to go 33% surrender, 33% acceptance, and 33% proactive in doing my breathing exercises now, getting something that smells great, like this awesome patchouli smell, to help ground me. Maybe I'm going to take a little sip of cold water. My water's empty, sweet. Maybe I'll take a little sip of a smoothie. Taste something soothing. So I'm gradually soothing myself physically. I'm allowing myself cognitively to just let these thoughts float by without believing the stories. And emotionally, what I'm doing is just feeling these sensations, just feeling these physical sensations, not adding a story to it, or just allowing myself to be present with that physically. Because a physical sensation without the story is just a physical sensation. Does that make sense, what I mean by story? Story means the thought that's come with it, the distorted thoughts. Oh my God, I'm dying, I'm this, I'm that. Very common symptom. So Melina, we got your back. I'm so happy that you're here. Thanks for tuning in, and stick around. Keep sharing more. Joe says, give more anxiety when I feel the heat in my upper back. Yeah, so same thing with you, Joe. It's like you feel a physical symptom. It starts to trigger some thoughts that you may have, right? So it's like, oh no, this again. Is this going to get worse? Is this ever going to go away? Am I ever going to feel normal again? And so your job, Joe, is to really minimize that and to allow those stories just to be there. Don't try to push them out. Don't try to shut them up. That doesn't work. Just allow them to flow through. Kind of like you were in a car with somebody who's, maybe a little anxious, maybe a little just nervous about whatever you guys are going. Just let them vent. And this is just a part of you that's venting. Let it vent. You don't have to believe it. Just like you wouldn't believe somebody in the car who has an irrational fear of whatever you're going through. Janie, what's up? Janie says, I can handle the mental part of anxiety. It's the physical pain it causes is the killer. So what are you having, Janie? Muscle tension? Is it kind of pain running through your arms and legs? Give me a little bit more of a description, because it sounds like Amber agrees with you. To me, too, the physical symptoms are the hardest for me as well. Let's check in with YouTube. Ahmed says, hey, what's up, man? Real enthusiastic. Remember I messaged you earlier, like a few months back, that I was diagnosed with severe OCD. I overcame it all by myself, and I came out of it more strong. My whole story of depression also got viral on Facebook a few days back. I fought it all alone. I fought it with my strong willpower and me wanting to get better, as at one point I was about to end my life. Well, Ahmed, I'm pumped that you didn't end your life, and I'm pumped that you've had such amazing success. Would love to know how. What did you do? What were some of the techniques that you used, Ahmed? Congratulations, man. Proud of you. It's awesome. Share the secrets, bro. Tina Jo says, yes, I faint. Syncope. Okay. Syncope. You faint. Is that and what does that do to? A drop in blood pressure? Well, that wouldn't be an anxiety symptom, would it? Anxiety raises your blood pressure. So when you say the physical symptoms, right? So the physical symptoms with panic attacks in particular are traditionally what starts that feedback loop, right? Physical sensation triggers a thought, triggers an emotion, triggers a physical sensation, triggers a thought, triggers an emotion, physical sensation, emotion, thought. Yeah. Amanda says, I had a brief health scare yesterday. I was on the struggle bus physically and ended up going to get a COVID test after work. It was negative, and I'm so grateful. I think it's just a nasty head cold brought on by allergies. Totally. I think to a certain extent, when COVID came out, like the majority of people that I was talking to were like any cough, any cold, any sort of just like trigger, any sort of physical symptom was like, COVID? Is this COVID? Is this COVID? Oh my God, is this COVID? Is this COVID? COVID? And it was so unknown in the news that it was really, really triggering. And I can remember that too. And then I got it and it was like, oh, I have it. Wow. I have it. So glad it's not COVID. Hopefully you're back on the horse and feeling better real soon, Ms. Amanda. Melina, who went to the emergency room, says, my body started feeling tense and discomfort and my heart rate started raising and I couldn't breathe good. Yeah, so Melina, loss of breath, racing heart rate, and muscle tension, those are like the 3 by far most common symptoms of anxiety. So, same thing. Those sensations without the stories are what we're working towards. So when you feel like you're short of breath, just minimizing the pressure and reminding yourself, hey, I'm breathing. I'm breathing. If I wasn't breathing, I'd be unconscious. So I'm definitely breathing. It's just part of it. It's the anxiety. The heart racing, it's like, so what if my heart races? I'm fine. Like it's okay for my heart rate to go up. It's totally fine. So what if my muscles are tense, right? That's the part of the DARE method, the accept, the turning the what if into the so what. Yeah. Tina says, no, I pass out, my body faints on me. Interesting. Yeah, sorry you struggle with that. That sounds, how often does that happen? Because, yeah, with anxiety, that's not related to anxiety. I know that, like, I talk, and this is, when I went on the teacup, it wasn't a teacup ride. It wasn't a teacup ride I went on. It was like a fast slingshot ride. Yeah, slingshot, yeah. Not a teacup ride, but I felt really, really super lightheaded. And I don't think it was the anxiety. I think it was more the vertigo because my body wasn't used to it. Because I didn't feel super anxious. My body was just like panicking, like, dude, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? And I remember just screaming to my girlfriend who was next to me, is this fun? Am I supposed to be having fun right now? And so I got off and I was real, super lightheaded. But what I wish I'd done is just gone on 6 or 7 more times, like regrouped, gotten had something to eat, got my blood sugar up, and then just went back on because it would have gotten easier each time. And that's, exposure therapy in a nutshell. Mom says, good show, Jim. I'm amazed how knowledgeable you are, Manoush. Oh, thanks, Manoush. Appreciate it. Shout out to Mama Sippo. Jim is one of my favorite people. Thank you, Amanda. Can you help with panic disorder or anxiety? Amy? Both. That's what we do for a living. Amy, I would encourage you to check out our class. It's in the description. You can go to that link and sign up for a call to hear more about our class that meets twice a week and how you can get involved. We have partial scholarships available because we know a lot of people are out of work for COVID. It's an awesome option. Awesome option. And we're in the midst of revamping all the curriculum too. So it's like we're updating everything with kind of the latest research, the latest tools and techniques, because it's always evolving how to more efficiently treat the anxiety. Checking in YouTube. Yeah, Ahmed hasn't shared anymore, but he was going through severe OCD, I guess. Well. Wow. Ramona says, yes, they said lack of raw materials. Even after the withdrawal, your brain is a mess. 21 years of that medication I took. How was your anxiety levels on the medication, Ramona? I mean, did it completely eliminate them? We tend to get more clients who have been through the gauntlet of medication or been a little more feel resistant towards traditional therapy, even though we use a lot of the same methods in tandem with other stuff as well. But how was the medication for you? 21 years. I mean, that must have been, hopefully it was working real well for you. Were you still struggling with anxiety on and off, or was it like completely gone? Kat says, I'm feeling so much better now that I'm back to work. It wasn't easy. I'm so very thankful to you and Ennis. A lot of meditation and exercise has helped me. It's a day-to-day progress. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Kat, lots of love to you. Congratulations on being back to work. Don't stop. Don't get complacent. Still gather information. Keep on, just keep on like optimizing yourself. Get further and further away from anxiety. So keep doing the exposure experiments. Have the conversations that are scary to you. Do those things, like really, really do those things. Because anxiety is like it's a day-to-day necessity, but to keep the levels low is like a full balanced lifestyle. Physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, professionally, romantically, creatively, all that stuff and more. Don't stop now, Kat. I'm so happy to hear you're doing better, but don't stop. Melina, who went to the hospital, says they referred me with psychiatry. Yeah, that makes sense. It was an anxiety-based symptom, so hopefully they gave you something that helped in the short term. But Melina, I'm going to encourage you, saddle up, get a pen and a paper, start writing all this stuff down. What I want to do for everybody here is share our ebook/audiobook in the chat. So the link is at the bottom of the chat right now, right under Ramona's saying, I never wish I took any meds 21 years ago. Follow that link. You can get a free copy of our ebook and audiobook called The Panic Response Plan. It talks all about what to do when you have a panic attack and ways to destimulate your nervous system as well. Ramona says, I started Celexa, and yes, I was doing good. Then it seems it has slowed down 10 milligrams. Tina says, withdrawals are the hardest. Yeah, it's really tough, especially from the benzodiazepines. Very, very difficult. Felicia, I have one question now that my anxiety is sort of under control. Okay. Why everything feels like I'm living in a daze, everything seems cloudy, and I don't feel like I'm here until I snapped out of it. Is there any advice you can give me? So it sounds like you're suffering from some kind of dissociative symptom, either depersonalization or a derealization. Typically, this happens when your system is exhausted, like overwhelmed, exhausted, or it's a coping mechanism for when things are just too much and overwhelming. And with the exhaustion, the key is you need to rest. And 90% of the time, that's what it is. The other 10% where it's a protective measure that your mind has sort of mechanized to save you from really painful or heavy situations is same thing you would do if you were struggling with like a panic attack or a high anxiety attack. Soothe, comfort, calm yourself down. Start with sensory soothing tools, soothing smells, mindfulness exercises, point out 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, birds, 3 things you can smell, 2 things you can taste, 1 thing you can touch, or any variation on that. And I would recommend that for like basic distress tolerance and advanced distress tolerance, you get this book, the Dialectical Behavioral Therapy Skills Workbook. The first 2 chapters are all about ways to soothe yourself through distraction, through doing daily chores, things that will help you calm down. But 90% of the time, Felicia, it's that you're tired. Yeah, if you're just depersonalizing or derealizing, everything seems fake or you feel disconnected from yourself. So try to get some rest. Make sure you're eating food regularly, and make sure your blood sugar is in a good place. And sometimes it can also just be like inflammation or like a high glycemic kick. If you just ate like a big dose of carbs or you had something with a lot of sugar in it. So just pay attention. There is some kind of pattern there. And notice if it keeps happening in some sort of a specific scenario or environment. I would recommend you keep kind of a dissociation or depersonalization, derealization journal of when it happens, what time of day, and get some data for a week or 2 so that you'll see a pattern in there. Ramona says, thank you so much. Thank you, Ramona. Melina says, I hope you get the knee. Or Tina says to Melina, hope you get the help you need. Tina says, I love to meditate and use my incense to change the energy of my home and my emotional state. Yes, smell is, in my opinion, the strongest and most powerful, like soothing technique. I light incense all the time, and it just helps kind of, refresh. Smell is linked so intensely to the memory part of your brain. Melina says, I was so thirsty and dizzy, and yes, I use essential oils. They help a lot, but my dog just knocked over my whiteboard. Thanks a lot, Woody. Hey, bro, what are you doing? Chasing a bug? But my brain is not helping me. Thank you. And yes, I'm new here. I'm glad I found your channel. Yeah, stick around. Seriously, when I say like take notes and stuff, it's like not to, we make this as digestible as we possibly can. But customize your plan. Like write down one or two things each one of these live streams, or get in the class and take some notes in the class of things you can do. Last night it was all about destimulating your nervous system and just tools and techniques for how to soothe yourself physically for when the anxiety hits. And also just preventative measures is so much. And we haven't even talked about the emotional part of this. What are the things that led you here? A lot of times people think it's stress. Well, anxiety is really not based in stress. It's more based in worry. And the constant worry and the need for like certainty of safety it's just not realistic. And so when there's a part of us that just desperately wants to feel safe all the time and desperately wants to feel in control, it takes a strategy and a plan to help soothe that part of you. Absolutely. Dawn says, I swear by meditation. Don't swear here, Dawn. Just kidding. For grounding, for calming down. It has a lot of benefits. Yes. The thing about meditation is it's great in the moment, but it's even better as a preventative measure, and particularly compassionate mindfulness meditation to help you like release that resistance to when anxiety strikes. So instead of, oh, not this, it's like, oh, okay, here it is. It's here. Okay, I feel it. I notice the thoughts. I feel the physical sensations. I don't have to believe the stories that come with it and stuff like that. Yeah, great work. Janie says, tight chest, buzzing head, dry mouth. Super common symptoms. Yeah, tight chest, muscle tension, buzzing head, ruminating, intrusive, obsessive thoughts, dry mouth. Dry mouth. Sometimes dry mouth is just from hyperventilating, hyperbreathing. Pat Cipollini says, we pulled you up on YouTube on the TV, which is great, but I don't know how to put comments on that. I'm using my iPad to do that. Anybody know how to put up comments on YouTube, on TV? Mom, call 1-800-I-Solutions for the IT help on the channel. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Thank you very much. God bless you. Back at you, Joe. So, Joe, what are you going to do, man? Let's get you a strategy. Let's get you help. Amy Roundtree says, okay, great. Do it, Amy. Want to help you. Wendy says, hi, Jim. Star. Oh, thanks for the star, Wendy. So good to see you. How are you? How's your heart? Excuse me. Amy says, do you suggest medical marijuana instead of traditional medication? What do I suggest? Everybody's different. That's what I suggest. Everybody's different. And you need to figure out what works for you. However, I would say weed and medication fall in the same category as bridges to get to the other side, and short, medium term coping mechanisms. Do I have a judgment about it? Absolutely not. But we're not psychiatrists, man. We have to, it sucks. Get me off the record, get me outside of the stream, and we can talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, consult your doctor. Sophia says, hi, Jim. Fast question. I was unable to be in class last night, but I was wondering, can I do Thursday? Sophia, you're always welcome. Of course. Of course. Ramona says, I wish I'd never started any meds 21 years ago, and I take Xanax and Celexa now, helping but still floating feeling. Yeah, Ramona, I just think, does the link not work? Oh, no, that link does not work. You're absolutely right. I'm so sorry. I totally put up the wrong link. Oh, no. I'll put up the right one. If I can find it. Here we go. My bad. I'm reposting the link. Okay, it's underneath Amy Roundtree's comment. So sorry. Yeah, link didn't work. Sorry, guys. Try again. Ramona says, I'm being told what I am going through is also like depersonalization also. Due to what happened with the med withdrawal, brain kicks in to protect itself, taste and smell and touch all changed for me. Interesting, Ramona, yeah. I would just say it's a lot of... Look, the depersonalization, the derealization can be one of the freakiest things. When it happens, disarming the catastrophization and really the stress around it is the first step always. It's okay. Hey, this is just a symptom of anxiety. It's very normal. It's okay not to like it, but I don't need to control it. It comes and goes. It fluctuates. To be honest, I feel a little derealized right now. And even when I acknowledge it, I can feel it back. So I might just take a second and do a little breathing. Just alleviate any of the pressure. Just listen, kind of listen to my thoughts and be like, what's going on? I'm a little bit on autopilot. I'm a little bit in the rush. I have a little bit of caffeine running through me. I'm hungry. Don't feel tired. And I feel, actually, the truth is I feel excited. These questions are great. I feel so grateful and lucky to be here with these wonderful people who are open and sharing. It's a privilege to be on just a part of your healing journey. Yeah. So I think for me, it's actually excitement right now. Taste and smell and touch all changed for me. Interesting. So the link should be working, the new one. Click it and give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Joanne says, hey, Jim, what's up, Joanne? Good to see you. Tara, yeah, click the link below. Cat on challenging Tina for the coolest emoji? I don't know what it is. I'm trying to, I need a little help. I worry too much shaking my head. Joe, I would encourage you too to come join our class, man. Like I said, we got partial scholarship, so it's totally affordable for everyone. Yeah, it's really affordable for everyone. So if you're, if you're in an economic hardship and it's, it's a good class. It's a good group of people. You can remain anonymous in it. But it really just teaches much more in depth than I can once a week for an hour here, taking all these questions. Goes much more in depth about the techniques, what it looks like, all that. Amy says, well, we needs to talk lol over. All right. Joanne replying to Ramona says, I've been on meds for 17 years. Joe says, what really got me scared was the panic attacks in the middle of the night. Joe, nothing to be worried about. Totally normal. Yeah, even when you're sleeping, to be rushed out of your sleep. So it's a shock to the system because you go from the most relaxed state you could possibly be in to the most heightened state you could possibly be in. And a lot of times it's triggered by some kind of physical sensation. Your heart skips a beat while you're sleeping and triggers that immediate panic response. So working with it to know you're safe with panic attacks. You're not going to die. You're not going to go crazy. You're not going to lose control, as well as knowing that it's extremely normal. And the more confident and the more able you are to stop that feedback loop, that escalation, by knowing I'm safe and just be with the physical sensations, the panic attacks get shorter, they get less intense, and they get less frequent, and eventually they just stop. it's really rooted in a cognitive kind of misfire, meaning it's like, yeah. So it's really the thoughts that make it bad. It's like the thought of, danger. It's like, no, you're okay. But you got to retrain that reflex. That's what's so hard about it. That's what takes a long time. Just check it on the dog. You're welcome. So link is working. Fantastic. Awesome. Amber asks, how do you stop panic attacks back to back? Today at work, I had them, and it's like it wouldn't stop. Even when I tried to breathe, it wasn't helping. Yeah. So when you say you had them back to back, it sounds more like the physical symptoms wouldn't stop. And when you say back to back, do you mean like help me understand a little better, Amber? Back to back, like you had one, it subsided, then you had another one, it subsided, or it just seems like it wouldn't stop or slow down? Ramona says, yes, link worked. Thanks. Google Documents is what I'm seeing. Is that it? Yes. Yeah. So it's a Google Doc. The first, I think it's 10 files or so is audio files. Obviously start at number 1. And then at the bottom of the folder, there's a PDF file that you can click on so you can actually see a visual of the book I'm reading. The audio version has some extra information and extra commentary, some bonus commentary and stuff like that. Awesome. I would have one that it would stop for like 5 minutes, then I would have another. Yeah, so I mean, it sounds more like, you know, these physical sensations were coming and would start that feedback loop. So actually I would say that it's more like every time you have one of those physical sensations, it would trigger that feedback loop. So you'd have a physical sensation, trigger the kind of catastrophizing thought, triggers an emotion, which turns into, you know, in turn is tethered to a physical sensation, the thought, the emotion, the sensation. That's that feedback loop that feeds on itself. So I would just say there was something going on, that you were in an environment that was triggering a little bit of an anxious response, and that would turn into a panic attack. So really the key, Amber, is that you're just not practiced in stopping that feedback loop. And so every time your heart skips a beat or it escalates or you skip a breath or can't catch your breath, yeah. Joanne says, my antidepressant is not working anymore. Should I have the dose adjusted or try to go off them? Talk to your psychiatrist. Like I said, our stance is that it's good for a bridge, but everybody's different, and no judgment. Some people long-term works really well for them. Some people have anxiety about getting off of them, that they're scared. It's kind of that safety blanket, that without them, you know, it'll cause kind of a somatic response that will feel like depression or anxiety. They call that somatoform symptoms, ones that are based in kind of, you know, the reverse placebo effect. You kind of believe, or you feel so anxious and tethered to the medication that you're scared to get off of it. And so it causes physical symptoms that feel, you know, that are anxiety. But really what it is just the fear of getting off the medication. So, I mean, you know, Joanne, talk to your psychiatrist. You got to know that, again, your psychiatrist, your doctor, your therapist, your coaches, all those people are consultants for you. Think about what you want. Right? We talk about visualization all the time. What do you want for yourself? You don't have a psychiatrist? I would find a psychiatrist, a good one, a highly rated one in your vicinity that you can talk to. Joe says, now I'm scared to go to the gym because I catch anxiety on the cardio machines. Yep. Super common, Joe. So same thing. This will come back once you start to get more comfortable and feel more strong and apt and capable of really dealing with the physical sensation. Because think about it. What happens when you start to run? Your heart starts to beat a little faster. You might get anxious. It might skip a beat. It might palpitate a little bit. And that's going to trigger, again, that feedback loop. Thought, scared emotion, tightness in the chest, scared, thought, maybe feeling lightheaded, adrenaline releases in your body. Now you're feeling real jacked up. And if you can't stop that feedback loop, if you can't just let those thoughts float by, if you're absorbing them as true, like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack, I'm going to die, my heart's going to explode, then what's going to happen is it's going to get, it's going to feed into that feedback loop and feel like a panic attack. So Joe, what I would recommend is that you take these strategies we're talking about, read the panic response plan. If you're versed, I would encourage you to join our class. And then what you're going to start is gradually starting to do some exposure therapy. Get back on the treadmill at a slow rate, alleviate the pressure. So be like, hey, if I have to stop, I'll stop. No problem. If I have to, if I get on for 2 minutes and I feel like I can't handle it, I'm just going to stop. If it gets to be too much, I'm going to stop. But I'm just going to try. And I'm not going to, I'm going to keep doing it until, like, I'll stop and then get back on once I regroup until I get to a mile or 2 miles or whatever your goal is. Little bits of exposure therapy. You can have a support buddy there, but just know that you're not in danger of, like, if it's anxiety, you're not in any danger of pushing your heart too hard or anything like that. All right, we got a question on YouTube from Christopher Wood. Man, ever since my mother passed away, it really hasn't been the same. I'm having a hard time dealing with it after a year, and I feel like it doubled my anxiety and stress. I don't know what to do, man. Is there any advice at all, please? Yeah, Christopher, I have a lot of advice. Ideally, the advice would be, and I don't mean to sound cocky, ideally the advice would be set up some one-on-one sessions with myself, honestly, because it sounds like there's a lot going on. There's probably some regressive therapy you have to do. And I just feel super confident in my ability because I've been doing this for a long time to help you through that. Now, on your own, the advice is like, it's doubled my anxiety and stress. Take apart the stress factor. That's not what it's doubling. The anxiety, it feels like stress because everything's more difficult with stress. Okay. It's made your anxiety worse. I mean, part of it is figuring out why. So there's the short-term solution of how do I calm my body when I'm in an anxious state. There's the medium-term solution of how do I deal with the thoughts. And there's a long-term solution of how do I recalibrate myself to live my life without my mom? Because clearly mom was something significant to you, which is a source of security, a source of support. Maybe you feel more alone now. Maybe you feel scared to kind of navigate the world without her. Maybe there's something traumatic that happened when you lost her. Maybe you had to see her suffer or something that doesn't stick with you. Maybe her suffering triggered some health anxiety inside of you. Yeah. The reason I would encourage you to work one-on-one is with somebody is because this is kind of a really specialized deal in releasing these emotions, like processing through them. But there's many ways to process through emotions, Christopher. I would start with simple journaling about mom. What does mom mean to you? Don't so much focus on how crappy you feel right now, but focus on what was mom to you. And then maybe move into bridging the gap and being like, well, why do I feel so anxious or lost without her? And once you write that down on paper you're spilling from an emotional part of you, it goes into the intellectual part of your brain for reprocessing. And so when you may say things like, I don't feel secure, I don't feel like I can handle stuff, I don't feel like financially I can manage myself, I don't feel like I have a support system, then you can actually take tangible external actions to fulfill those needs. So you can find a group of people, hint, hint, everybody here right now will support you, Christopher. Maybe you can link up with some of them for a support buddy. If it's something financially, it's like, well, maybe I need to really get my finances in order. And once you take care of those issues, if it becomes an emotional thing, like I just feel alone or insecure with her, then it's about doing some deeper coaching or therapy to bring the scared part of you and help it feel secure so that you can attune yourself to it and be in touch with it. So that's what I would recommend. Lots of advice, lots of things you can do. Lots and lots. Big time. Big time. Big time. Very cool. Well, I think that's it. I think that's it for today. So guys, go to that link, that Inner Solutions, that Panic Response Plan book link. I want to thank you guys for sharing so openly and beautifully. Thank you to all the new faces who are here. I'm here every Tuesday, 6:30 Central Time. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook. check out the link to join our class if that's something you're interested in. Schedule that call to get more information. Again, partial scholarships are always available to those in need. Beyond that, it's just the simple message of no matter how long you've been struggling, no matter how intense it is, no matter how hopeless you feel, you're never, ever stuck, nor are you alone. You just need some good support. I'm Jim Cipollini with Inner Solutions. Thank you guys so much. If you need anything, message us here on Facebook. Email us at hello@innersolutions.academy, jim@innersolutions.academy. And as always, lots of love and good mental health. Thank you guys so much. Peace.